Hope everybody had a happy, enjoyable homecoming weekend. I know we did. I think it was a great game for us in multiple ways. Not everything is always going to be perfect. I think it was good for our football team to show some resiliency coming out of halftime, getting some things corrected, and really pushing the envelope in the second half. I was really impressed by what Indiana State did in the first half. I talked the previous week about Coach Mallory and the way he coaches and the way his program and his culture show up on the football field. They played extremely hard. Speaking for their offense, our defense, we probably saw every formation play known to man in the first half. They messed with their eyes a little bit, which, again, it's good for our defense to be able to go through those things, adjust accordingly, and make things happen. Offense was consistent and efficient. We had a little bit of trouble with the rush early, gave up a few sacks. Not what we were hoping to do there, but again, we got in at halftime. We were able to settle in, make some protection adjustments, and big day for the Bears. Got a huge road test going up to the Unidome. Coach Farley's been in this league for a long time. I don't know what the home record is for them there, but it's high average of wins. So we know we need to have a great week of work and get ready to go battle for 4 quarters.
It's got to be a cool thing at this point where you guys didn't have your best day and you're scoring 46 points and winning by 25. Just where do you see in growth from this program overall where you guys are able to do something like that?
Yeah, it's a testament to the players in the locker room and our staff. When we went in there, none of the coaches really had to say much at all. All of our leaders stepped up and shared some things that they needed to say to our football team to get everyone's minds right to really attack the second half. And again, we're maturing. I know when I spoke on that and earlier in the season we had some issues, everybody was like, what the heck is he talking about? Well, you're seeing it now. You're seeing how we're growing and how when you expect to win and you expect good things to happen to your football program, they tend to happen.
Coach, a little bit about the offensive line in the first half. Give up the 4 sacks. Haven't really seen that since the offensive line has gotten healthy over the last couple of weeks. Was it a case of what Indiana State was doing? I mean, they've got some great players. Brown, the linebacker's a talented player. Or was it, I mean, you all are still kind of tinkering and moving pieces around, like I saw Eric Cade in the guard spot on one of those plays where they got to Jacob Clark.
Yeah, I think it was a combination, Corey. I think that, again, they did a great job with their pressure packages, knowing who and where to attack, trying to exploit some weaknesses of our offensive line. But, again, they were able to settle in, and we were able to make some just adjustments schematically to pick up they're called magic pressures when you bring overload blitzes, and we were able to pick those up and then dice them up pretty well in the second half.
Coach, when you looked back when you first got hired, to be at this spot right now, growing the program, was this your expectation, 5 straight wins in your second year like this, or do you expect even more?
Yeah, I think we're on the right track. I think that when I took over as the head football coach, I really liked the players in the organization. We were able to retain the players that we wanted to retain and bring in some key components to, keep building on the infrastructure that we already had. Last year, again, we were pretty young, took some major injuries, and I knew that if we could just continue to progress and continue to get better as the season went on, we would be set up for a pretty strong year this year. And the biggest thing we got to understand is we're not done yet. Around here, these streaks and winning, that needs to become the norm. When you normalize success, when you normalize winning big games, again, the players and the fans expect that, and expectations are earned. We've talked about that in our locker room. Don't bow away from the pressure. Embrace it.
Do you go back now as like you guys aren't playoff eligible, but just kind of the way you guys are trending, you guys look like a playoff team.
Yeah.
Just how much of is that a bummer at this point? Just kind of has it been talked about? Just what's that like right now?
Yeah. Some things are hard to explain with rules with the NCAA. If we go down the line and we're in a better position, maybe we can talk more about that and how I really feel about it. But right now we just need to take a game at a time and go get a big win against UNI.
Coach me.
You got it.
Can you talk about?
There you go.
Can you talk about UNI? I mean, the long history that the Bears and the Panthers have had against each other for going back into the late '80s. Just talk about that, and this maybe being the last time y'all playing in a regular season game.
Yeah, I absolutely got a history lesson. The first time we beat them, we held them to 3 field goals. You would have thought it was like, gold medal status, because everybody was like, we won in the Unidome and we beat UNI. and there was some shock to some of our staff, but when you really do delve into the history of these two programs, two powerful programs that have slugged it back and forth. I know before we got here, they've gotten the best of us quite a few times, but I think we've been able to change the trajectory of at least the last 5-6 years, and we plan to continue to do the same. But everyone, you're going to bring up the record and they're on a 5-game losing streak. That means nothing in the Valley. You have to show up day in and day out with your best foot forward, and that's what we plan to do.
I know you guys are relatively new into the tradition, but just to go into that dome and look around and hopefully can keep those fans from putting their keys back in their pockets at the end of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of history in the Unidome. We do have turf shoes this year. Prior, we didn't have turf shoes, and I'm like, what is going on? And you see all their team equipped in turf shoes. So we made sure we had the option. Not sure what the players will want to do, whether they want to go spikes or the turf shoes, but we've at least got that option. It's a cool place to play. I'm excited for our guys to go up and have the finale up there. I think it's fitting, and we're excited to go compete.
That spring season when you guys won up there, that's kind of often seen as kind of the turning point for this program. That was the marquee win before going on to win some more of the cooler games. What do you remember from that? And looking at the growth from that game, of course you go to playoffs twice there, and where this program is now.
Yeah, it's been a really cool experience to be a part of. Just the transition from when we first came in, it was, let's just, everybody's going, Coach, just stay close. And again, me and Bobby are looking at each other, stay close. And we're winners. We were brought here to win. And to go now, last year was, can we do it with the new head coach? And this year we're on a little bit of a run, and we've got a pretty good football team. And you talked about, did you expect it? In this game of football, nothing is expected. It's depending on how hard you're willing to work and how much you're willing to sacrifice for success. And those players in that locker room have sacrificed a lot. Again, a lot of them have passed up multiple opportunities to stay with our program, and I commend them for that. I love every single person in that locker room, and you can just feel the difference in the camaraderie and the family atmosphere that we have right now. They fight their ass off for each other.
As a defensive mind, when you see Lance Mason just getting open the way he does, I mean, he's second on the team receiving when more than half of those yards have to be from those big plays or where he's running for touchdowns when he's left open. Just how crazy that this, I'm sure it doesn't drive you crazy, but I'm sure just looking at that, it's kind of blow your mind how that always happens.
On the other side of it, I love it.
Yeah.
But I was joking around with Coach Petrino. I was like, we're going to have to change his number because eventually they're going to go watch for Lance Mason. There's a chance that you're going to get some sort of play to him. But he continues to be open, and I think that's a testament to what Coach Petrino has been able to do on the offensive side of the ball and the way Jacob sees the field and distributes the football to so many targets. Who are you going to key on? And I think that has made us tremendously successful on offense, and we got to keep it rolling.
What do you like from UNI this year and just trying to shut them down on Saturday?
Yeah, they still run the football effectively. They've got a really good group of wideouts. They're big, they're strong, they're fast. The O-line is always big when you go up to UNI. They have big bodies, big presence. And I'm not sure exactly how they're feeling about their quarterback room. 2 guys have been playing. It's kind of been a 2-quarterback system. We'll see what kind of shakes out on game day to that. The nice thing is they're not different players. You're basically seeing the same scheme, which is great for us on defense. And then on their defense, they've got a really good pass rusher, number 96, Cannon Butler. He can affect the game. We have to make sure we know where he is at all times. And they got a few guys in the secondary that we started to recruit a little bit here, but it's going to be a good football game. Man, again, they're hungry for a win, and we're hungry to keep winning, and it's going to be a battle who has the greater will to win.
Do you write on the board somewhere in the locker room 25, then 20, then 18? How much do you keep track of the ratings for the guys, or do they just keep it within themselves?
What is that?
The ratings, the rankings and the polls.
Exactly. We're trying to take it a step at a time, do our thing, keep winning games, making the fans proud and the alumni proud. I hit on it a little bit after the game. It was, when you talk about why I just mentioned the process of growing the program, seeing the people that have been here since we first got here and that were just dying for success and have stuck with us and believed in our vision. I think that was one of the coolest parts. I'm getting chills right now of the homecoming experience is being able to hug some of those people, the Coach Rose of the world, and getting email from all the alumni. It's just it fills you with a lot of pride to be able to be putting our school in a position to be successful for now and in the future.
Coach, I know you've gotten a lot of questions about 1996 and how long it's been since the team was in this sort of a situation. What if and you touched on it there, maybe half answered it, but I want to know your perspective on what you've seen around campus, what it's like. Are people talking to you at the grocery store about it? Like, what has it felt like for you personally?
Yeah, probably not me. I keep a pretty tight circle. I know that our kids are being recognized out and about, which is great. And we talk about it all the time in our locker room about, you have to be able to handle success too. You have to be able to handle people coming up to you and talking to you, wanting your autograph, and the buzz that is going on around this community. And there is a buzz. I say it all the time, and people kind of joke on me about it, but I mean it wholeheartedly. There's never been a time in the history of this university to be a Bear, and now is the time to strike while the iron's hot. So recruits, families, you want to come play at a top-notch organization at a top-notch university, come to Missouri State.
I know you touched on the fact that you guys were able to keep some guys, which sometimes feels like that's the name of the game with NIL now. It's just keeping guys, even if you just don't lose any. The timing of going into a new conference like this, what sort of changes have you seen that you guys have really been able to take advantage of, knowing that you're going to a bigger platform like that maybe helped in this past off season?
Yeah, you see a little bit of influx in, guys knowing who you are. You're in on a few other names that you probably wouldn't have been in on. But I think it'll really take off once we put our plan together to actually get an infrastructure that looks like an actual FCS program. We have to get the locker room, the weight room, we need to make sure our science department is ready to go to keep our kids healthy and safe. They need a good rehabilitation center and all those different things to look like you're an FBS football team. I think you'll have another pool of talent come once we get those plans out into the public, and then we can take another step as a university.
How have you seen the confidence in these guys rise with winning? Watching the game back, I see it in you on the sideline. You're walking around with this different kind of swagger, cockiness to you, just kind of watching that back. How have you seen that in the guys as they go out throughout the days?
Yeah, they've attacked each day, and they understand what it takes to win. And like I talked about earlier, when you expect to win the game, you can be down or things can be going bad, but a few years ago they could have turned on each other, or attitudes may have changed, but now it's it's matter of fact. This is what we have to do to go win the football game. We're going to do it, and we're going to go win the football game. And anytime you have that mindset, we talk about the power of a made-up mind. Anytime you understand what it takes to win and what you're willing to do, you go and do it.